morning, everyone. It's Karen Hooley, and welcome to this week's Live Wednesday with Karen. I'm so excited you guys are here. It's been a busy week. It's going to continue to be a busy week. But before we get started, I want to pop into chat and see who's here. First of all, we've got Linda, and she's here with Daisy. And I'm glad you have your thumbs ups, the thumbs up button smashed. I can't talk today. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. That helps with the algorithm. I'd really appreciate it if you did. And then good morning, Stephanie. It's hot in Texas. It's hot here too. Yesterday we hit 103. I know it's probably hotter there, but we're supposed to have another heat wave coming through pretty soon. So it'll be interesting to see what our weather's like. And someone new, Anvita Sina. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but thanks for joining us. And good morning, Judy from Ontario, Canada. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. And good morning, Pat. I'm so glad you're here. And Dawn is here as well. Good morning. And Suzanne is here. Good morning. I'm glad you're here. So, hope everybody's doing okay. Oh, and Kelly's here too. She just popped in. Good morning, Kelly. Good to see you. We've missed you the last couple times. Okay. Let me have a sip of my coffee and then we can get started. Hang on one sec. I've been crocheting all morning on a super secret project and I haven't done much talking, so my voice is kind of not here. Oh, and Renee's here. Good morning. Good morning, Renee. It's good to see you. And yes, 104 and it feels like 110. Yeah, that's what yesterday was like for us. It was 103 and it felt like 100 and I don't know. It wasn't 110, but it was like 106 or 108 or something. Oh, exciting. College visits for Kelly. Has your oldest figured out kind of where they want to go, or have they not, or are you still looking? That's so much fun. I remember doing that with my kids. So, okay. So before we get started with today's topic, I am giving away a pattern today. I don't have the sample, but I do have a physical copy of the pattern. I'm giving away Cherry Cola cardigan. This is a little girl's sweater. And it's sized from, I'm going to try to remember, sizes 2, 4, 6, and 8. So this is for toddlers and above. A size 8 is pretty large. So, you know, an 8 to 10-year-old, if you've got a grandchild or a child that's in that age range. And even though this one's done in pink with a little girl, this is definitely can be done in other colors. It can be unisex. I just happened to use pink because that was what I was asked to use for the original pattern. So if you are interested in winning this pattern, let me put it on my screen here. Hang on one sec. You need to type in to chat exactly as you see it here on the screen. Hashtag Cherry Cola. So hashtag Cherry Cola. So if you're interested in winning this pattern, I will send it to you in a digital form if you're the winner, and I'll draw the winner at the end of the show. If I forget, guys, don't forget to remind me because last week I almost forgot. So again, Cherry Cola with the hashtag in front with no spaces. Okay, so, and the only person who cannot enter this week is Liz from BCCW channel. She won last week. And Charlene, if you're here, I hope you got the pattern from 2 weeks ago. I did get your email, so I'm hoping that you got it. You haven't responded to me, so I just want to make sure that you got it. So make sure if you're watching this after the fact, make sure you let me know. And Dawn says she got that one in the mail. Yes, I know, Dawn, you just got it in the mail. Just for those of you who are new to the show, I am right now, all of my print patterns are on sale for $4.50 each. And if you buy 5 or more in any combination, if you buy multiples for, a group or something like that, but if you order 5 or more, I will give you free shipping. Now, I will say that almost everything, not almost everything, there's a lot of the patterns that were originally listed in my original email and my blog post that are no longer available. And I no longer have group quantities of, like 10 or more of any of the patterns, except I think one. No, actually, Desert Sunset, I can't remember how many I have of Desert Sunset. I am going to update the blog post to show you what I do have. If you go to my blog or you go to my shop and it shows that there's an option for print, but it won't let you pick it, it's because I am sold out of those patterns. So I know I only have two left of Cherry Cola. I also have, I think there's a couple that I only have one pattern of. I know Desert Sunset's got a few. I have a couple, I think I have one left of Mr. Cunningham, which is the boys V-neck sweater, but it could be for a girl also. I also have a couple whimsies left. I have Old Blue Jeans beanie still available. I had 1 or 2 of those left. I should probably open up my filing cabinet and tell you. See, I've got whimsy. I think I've only got 2. Serenity, I only have 1 or 2. I can't remember. It's 2. Serenity, I have 2 left of Serenity. Serenity is a garment, just in case you haven't seen that. I have, let's see. I have 1 tinctured left, tinctured shawl. I have some spring leaves. I have like 4 spring leaves. I have 4 English blooms. I think I have quite a few. This is Desert Sunset, in case anybody's interested in that one. Desert Sunset, I have 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 of these. I only have 7 of these. Okay. I think that's the one with the most left. And then I have 3 Mr. Cunninghams and 2 Cherry Cola cardigans. And also, until I run out, I have free Cloudberry print patterns that go with any print pattern order. So if you order print patterns, I will send you a copy of Cloudberry in print for free. So just a little heads up on that as well. Okay, so I'm going to close that filing cabinet. There you go. Let's see. Who else is here? I just saw Liz pop in. Good morning, Liz. And Renee popped in with Cherry Cola. So that is, for those of you who just popped in, this is the pattern I'm giving away. Liz, since you won last week, you cannot enter this week, but everybody else can. This is the pattern. It goes from a toddler's 2 to a child's 8 size. It can be done. It's a unisex sweater, so it doesn't have to be done in pink. It's just called Cherry Cola because it reminded me of Cherry Cola when I designed this. So if you're interested in winning this pattern, you type in hashtag Cherry Cola. And there you go. And Charlene, you popped in. Good. Did you get? Yes, you got the pattern. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Okay. So if anybody has any questions about today's topic, I'm going to be reviewing. I'm going to put this on my screen here. I'm going to be reviewing some of the yarns. You've seen them before if you've been following me for a while. From Universal Yarns, I got a pack of 3 yarns that I wanted to test out for some designs that I had in mind. And I finally got to swatch them this weekend through yesterday. I think I finished the last swatch that I wanted to do yesterday. And I want to talk about each one of the yarns. So if you have any questions about what I'm talking about, in the chat, just type the letter Q, a space, and then your question, and I will scoop those up and answer them as needed. And this is true. It doesn't have to be on this topic. If you have any question for me, please type a Q, a space, and then your question. And then I will scoop them up and answer them when I'm done reviewing the yarns. So let's start with the first one. The first one is from Universal. Well, they're all from Universal, but this one's called Viero. And this is purple. Hang on a second. Let me find out what's going on here. There we go. I didn't get a chance to wind this so it's not hanging. Okay, so this is Viero from Universal. It is 80% tencel and 20% wool, and it's a DK weight. And you get them in 3.5 ounce skeins, and it's got 206 yards of yarn. And when you first feel it, it's really, really soft. But then when I went to find the end, hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to try to get it as close as I can to the camera. I can't really reach all the way to the camera, but there by my face, can you see how the yarn is starting to unply or untwist? So this is a very loosely plied yarn. I love this color. I forgot to mention the color. It's called Orchid Rush. They have a ton of colors, and this is one of their newer yarns. Okay, so I did 2 swatches with this one. I think I've told you in the past that I always swatch first in double crochet because that's the stitch I use the most. So I did an 8x7, I think. It's like 7 inches now. It got a little tight. I haven't blocked these yet, guys. I still need to block them to see how I like them. But I liked how it felt in the double crochet. I used a size 7 crochet hook, which is 4.5 millimeters, to swatch this. And because it's such a loose ply, it was very easy to split. I caught most of them, but I did notice here at the bottom, because I do foundation double crochets for the first row, and I did notice that I didn't catch them all. There's a couple of strands that are still split, and it does show up if you really look at it. But the fabric is very drapey. I think if I went with a larger hook, it would have a little bit more drape, but I think based on my preferences with double crochet, there would have been too many holes, or the holes in between the stitches would have been too big. It's kind of, this is why I want to block them, and I'll report back next week after I block it. But it is kind of, I don't know what the word is, but it's not soft. It's not crunchy, but it doesn't have a super, it's not soft. Let's just put it that way. For being wool and tencel, I don't think there's enough wool in here to make it as soft as I would like it to be for a garment or a shawl. I do think this would make a really great tote bag in this, at least in double crochet. I don't know that I would use it for a blanket unless I wanted something that was non-wool for the most part. Call it a DK weight, but to me, it seems like it crocheted up as a worsted almost. It feels like I didn't do the wraps per inch, but it feels a little, it looks like a DK, but it crochets up heavier. I don't know how to describe it. It's like the yarn doesn't compress, I guess is the word I want, to make it more of a DK. And I think that's due to the tencel. What I do love about it, and I don't know if you guys can see, but it's got a sheen that is amazing. I love the sheen. So I'm not 100% sure I'm going to use this for anything, but I'm glad I made the swatch. And I also made another swatch with this one using the same hook, but a more textured stitch, just to see what it felt like textured. And again, I need to block it to see if it changes anything. Not 100% that this is, I think this would be better with if I was going to do a garment or a shawl with a lacy stitch, and I didn't have time before today to be actually swatch it as a lacy stitch. This has got a little bit of lace to it. It's got some holes in there, but it's not super, super lacy. But it just doesn't feel garment worthy to me. And if I were to knit something with this, yeah, I think in stockinette, this would probably be great. But for crochet stitches, I think crochet stitches are just too bulky for any sort of garment. It might work well too. I just thought about this with like fingerless mitts. That might be a great thing. It might be a great thing for a little beanie, although I don't think there's enough wool in here to keep your head warm. Tencel is not something that actually holds the heat in or keeps the heat in. So I don't necessarily recommend it for beanie, but fingerless mitts, if you want something that's got a little bit of air to it and keep your hands a little cooler and not overheat them like alpaca can, this might be your go-to yarn. I see some comments coming in, so I'm going to see where you guys are. Let's see. Viero does, I'm going to put Renee's up here first. Viero does not come in fingering. This is only, all of these yarns only come in the weights that I have. They are not a dyer that, they are a big, I wouldn't call them a big box because you can't get them at Michael's or anything like that. They are local yarn shop yarns, but they are a huge company and they don't make the same things in fingering and in other weights like some of the other larger companies do. This company does not. There's very few, I should say, and none of these come in any other weight. The three that I'm swatching come in any other weights. And Suzanne, yes, it does have amazing, that's the other thing, stitch definition is amazing. Okay, now again, I need to block these to see if that crunchy feeling that I don't like goes away, because sometimes blocking will help with that. And I'll let you guys know next week. But right now, I probably would not design anything with this. As gorgeous as the colors are and as gorgeous as the yarn can be once it's worked up and the stitch definition, it's just not where I am with what I design. It just let's say it's not compatible with my design methods. Let's put it that way. So there's a link for Viero. Again, it only comes in DK weight. I wouldn't recommend going below a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook because of how splitty it is. I was thinking about swatching it with a larger hook, but I don't think the larger hook's going to make any difference because it's a really super, super loose ply. I don't know if I can get it close enough for you guys to see the ply other than how it's unraveling here or untwisting at the where I cut the yarn. Okay. All right. Any other questions about Viero before I move on to the next one? Okay. Okay. Oops, I took the wrong one off. Okay, so the next one I swatched, and I know a lot of you wanted to see me swatch this. Oops, wrong one. Is Magnolia. This is the label. This is what's left of the hank that I got. This is a fingering weight. Okay, Magnolia is a fingering weight, and it's 95% modal, which is a synthetic fiber, and a 5% cashmere. Okay. So, or I should say, modal is a non-wool. It's not really synthetic, but it's a non-wool. And then I said cashmere. So 5% cashmere. Yes, 5% cashmere. And this gorgeous yarn has an amazing sheen. But once again, it's super, super loose ply. Okay. To the point, I only did one swatch with it. And I did change hooks in the middle. I could not get it to not split. It was, and I tried both knife hold and pencil hold, and it just split so bad. It's wonderful sheen, wonderful softness, but I don't know that I would design anything in this because I can't get past how much it splits. I was able to correct all the splitting as I made my swatch. Using a larger hook did not help. You can see how it kind of V's up. Use a larger hook up here and a smaller hook down here. It's got great stitch definition. The drape is fantastic. I mean, I used a 3.5 millimeter, which is a size E crochet hook on this one. The sheen is amazing. You can't really see it in the swatch. You see it better on the skein, the shine that it has. Stitch definition's okay. Not super great, but you can see the stitches and it's got some definition to the stitches. But I hate splitty yarns, guys. I mean, it makes me crazy and it slows me down. So it doesn't really have a whole lot of memory, but within the stitches it does. But if you don't mind dealing with the splitty yarns, or you have ways yourself that work for you to prevent things from being so splitty, this is a great yarn. It's so soft. It's great. I just don't think I'll design anything in this as well. I see a bunch of comments coming in. So isn't it cuddly? No one wants a shawl or blanket. Yes, it isn't cuddly, that purple one. Yes, and it would be in the Viero would be great for fingerless mitts. Yes, but you want something cuddly. This would be cuddly if you can get past the splitting, okay? It's the splitting that makes me crazy. And I've tried different kinds of hooks with splitty yarns, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I didn't try it with different hooks with this, but I was fighting with it so badly that I just realized that this is not something I'm going to work with. Is there any time when having a loose ply is advantageous? Good question. If it doesn't split, it depends on the yarn, I think, and it depends on what you're making. A loose ply doesn't give you as much stitch definition as a tight ply does, usually. I mean, this one, I think it's because of the, what is that other fiber besides wool? I forgot now. Oh, the Tencel. Tencel has really great stitch definition. And so that's why you see such a good stitch definition in this one. Modal is super shiny. It's a non-wool fiber for those who are allergic to wools, although this has cashmere in it, so anybody who's allergic to cashmere might have an issue. When it's not about, I would say with loose plies, at least in my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, if you've got a really loose ply, you don't want the stitches to pop. You're looking more at the color. And I bet you if I would have done a single crochet with this, or if I would have done a cable, you would see the cable, but it wouldn't pop out. You see what I'm saying? So I would use a looser ply yarn or a single ply yarn when it's more about the color. So if I was doing a striped Afghan that I wanted to be super soft, maybe I would use this, because it wasn't important about the stitches, but the coloring in the, whether I'm striping it or if I'm, or doing like flowers, or you know what I mean, that kind of thing, where the color is more important than what the stitch looks like. That's my opinion. Now, the other thing about stitch definition, if you look at the double crochet in the purple, you can see, I'm gonna have to scrunch it a little here, but you can see right here where you can see the rows. I mean, each one, in between each one of these little lines, there's 2 rows. That's your stitch definition. You can really see where the stitches are. Now, while with this one, you can see where the stitches are, but you don't have those lines. That tells me that this is a really loose ply. It doesn't have a lot to do that. It doesn't give you a lot of stitch definition. So there's that. Okay, so Linda says, Splitty yarn isn't fun to work with. It makes more of a job than a joy. Exactly. And my goal with anything I do or anything you guys do is to make it a joy. I mean, sometimes it feels like a job when you're in the middle of a deadline, like you've got a baby shower in 2 hours and you're not done with the baby blanket. That's more of a job than joy. But I don't want to recommend yarns that are going to make it too much of a job to stop the splitting, or it doesn't pull through very well, or you don't see the stitch definition, things like that. Because a lot of my designs, if you guys know my designs, stitch definition's big. Sometimes color's bigger than stitch definition, but stitch definition really makes things pop, especially if I'm doing something textured. I don't have it in my catalog right now, but I have a pattern called the Flutter Cardi or Flutter cardigan. It's a V-neck cardigan that has crocodile stitch cuffs and hem on it. And that was done in Malabrigo, which had beautiful stitch definition. So everything pops. In fact, this is the same stitch I used for the body of that. That's why I chose it, because it's such a great stitch definition stitch. And you know whether or not this is going to be good or not in stitch definition. And that sweater, because it didn't split and it was fun, it's a great pattern. Now that pattern will be coming back. So just for those of you, before you ask, I just have to have it reformatted and charted. I originally published it in a crochet magazine out of the UK, which the name of it escapes me right now because it's been so long. And there were no charts for that pattern. So I need to have it charted and re-tech edited, and then I will add it to my my catalog. But things like that is so important to me. I have 2 skeins of Magnolia and almond color. Bought them for shawls. You know, Renee, for you, they may work for you for shawls. Try, check it out and see if you like it. But for me, I just cannot design in this because it's too splitty, way too splitty. I love the feel of it though. I could sit here and just rub this swatch all day long because of the cashmere. And the modal is also soft. So no worries about using it for, if you guys like it, I want you to try it. But for me, it's not gonna work for what I do. I just see some more posts coming in here. Oh, no worries, Charlene. Oh, redraw. Okay, I'll remember if we have to be present. Yes. Awesome. Thank you. I definitely watch the replay because I got one more yarn that I need to do. But before we get there, I want to get to the rest of these questions. There's the link there again for the Magnolia if you want to check it out. Whenever I get yarn and people gives me lots of leftovers, I practice stitch patterns with it or make blankies for the pets in the shelter. I don't use troublesome yarns for gifts that I make. And that's what, because you want to have a lot of love in your patterns, in your projects that you're giving to someone else as a gift. And if you're fighting with it, you're never going to like it. And that's how I am, at least. Again, this was probably one I won't use, although I do love it. And I probably will have this swatch on my desk forever because it is so soft. I love it. I love how soft it is. And Linda said, I just finished the baby blanket and got it washed the night before. Yes, see, that's when it's a job, right, Linda? It's right before the baby shower, but you got it washed, and that's awesome. So, yeah, I've been there a million times. I've been there. Okay, so the last yarn, and it's funny because this is the yarn you guys thought the least about for me to swatch. And this one is called Truva. Okay. Here's what's left of it was a little cake, kind of, like a little round cake. This is a heathered yarn. Okay. And here's the label. Truva. Do I have it right side up? Yeah, Truva. This one is 50% cashmere, 50% cotton. And it comes in a 1.75 ounce ball with 164 yards. And I used, again, a size 7, 4.5 millimeter. This is a DK weight. Now, this swatch, this was the very first one I swatched. Great stitch definition. Oh, and I should mention the color is Sandcastle. Okay. So if you look at it up close, you can see that it's kind of got a marl to it. You see how it's got 2 colors in there. When you swatch it, it gets more heathered than marly. It does have a marl. There's some other colors out there that I'd love to try, but the stitch definitions there, you can see where I have my rows. The marl kind of gets rid of the stitch definition a little bit, but if you look at the swatch like I'm looking at it right now in front of me, there's a little bit more stitch definition. And then on top, I did another one of my favorite textured stitches. Now, cotton and cashmere, 50-50, you would think in the ball, it's super soft, right? Super, super soft. When I did the double crochet first, it wasn't coming out soft and it was making me crazy. That's why I switched to a different stitch on top really fast, just to see if it made a difference. And it's so much softer in a textured stitch. And the stitch definition is awesome, even with the marl in it, in a textured stitch. With the standard stitch, it's not so pretty, but in a textured stitch, it's gorgeous. So I decided to do a swatch of that texture stitch all by itself. And I absolutely love this. I mean, at first I thought cotton and cashmere is a really weird combination. I mean, I don't know of any other yarn out there that's 50-50 cotton and cashmere, but it is so soft. I have not blocked this yet. And I know it's just based on the feel alone of the cashmere. I know it's going to get softer, and I know cotton gets softer when you block it. So I'm anxious to block this. The stitch definition is really pretty. And this actually, I do have a design in mind for this. It may be in a different colorway than what they sent me, but I do have a design in mind for this. This is fantastic. This would make beautiful sweaters, beautiful blankets, beautiful shawls. If you like DK weight, this is one I recommend. Now, it is a little spendy. For 164 yards, at least on the Universal website, it's $30 a ball. So it is a little spendy. But the feel of it and what the stitch definition is was fantastic. I need to block it to make sure it's going to hold up to what my idea is. But if it holds up to what my idea is, you'll probably see me design something with this yarn. I really, really like this one. It is also very, very soft in here. Now I'm going to be blocking both swatches to see what happens with the straight up double crochet, but the straight up double crochet is not soft. The texture is. I'm not sure why. I don't know what the reasoning is, but the texture is so much softer. Okay, let's see. Stephanie says, I made a cardigan with Kobo, which is loose and splitty. DK weight, J hook. Took me a while to figure out my method to reduce the splitting. Clover or Moore hook helped me. Yes. And I will tell you that if you have a more rounded top to your hook, I'm trying to see if I have, let me get my hooks here. I'm going to just pull out one of the bigger hooks so you guys can see. See, this has a little bit of a point, but it's a smooth point. If you've got splitty yarns, you want something that's smoother up here rather than pointy, because pointy is going to make it split more. And Clover or Moore hooks are smoothed up here. Now, you guys know that I tend to like smaller hooks. I mean, 3.5, 4.25, 4.5 is about my sweet spot. This is a 6 millimeter. This is a J. So, I don't usually try to swatch in anything much larger than a 5 millimeter hook, but the larger hooks will help with that. But even in the larger hooks, if it's something like this Viero, or actually the Magnolia is probably a better example because I just could not get this to stop splitting. I don't even know that a J hook with a fingering weight yarn would prevent the splitting because it is so loosely plied. But that's one way to combat it. And sometimes that's what's very successful for me. Instead of using an H or an F, I might go up to an H or an I, even with the fingering weight, to get rid of the splits. That doesn't happen very often because once I find yarn brands that I like a lot, especially with the indie dyers, I tend to go back to those dyers because their yarns are really, really tightly twisted. And that's one of the things with crochet that is different than knitting, is that knitters, I mean, there's still splitty yarns for knitting. Don't get me wrong. There is always splitty yarns for everybody. But in knitting, it's easier to avoid splitting the yarn than it is in crochet because of the shape of the hook and the way our stitches are made. So as a crocheter, I don't recommend loose plies. I always recommend, always look for really tight plies. This one is a really tight ply. I think it's because cotton is what I call a sticky yarn. It likes to stick to itself, and cashmere does too. So this twist is really tight, and that's where I get this really cool stitch definition with this yarn. The other two, even though this one gives you the really, really cool stitch definition, it's the modal working for you. But this one has really zero stitch definition. But it's got the drape because of the tencel in it. So anybody else have a comment or question about these yarns or swatching or anything I've talked about? I'm going to move these over here. Let's see. I take this guy off. But I highly recommend universal yarns. I've used tons of universal yarns over the years. They're classic shades series. They have just the classic shades, and then they have like gradients in those shades, and then they used to have one with sequins. I still have some of those skeins, but those are discontinued yarns. But their whole classic shade series, that is an amazing series. I also like, I'm trying to think of their yarns now. I'd have to pull them up here really quick. There we are, Universal Yarns. I have to go through their yarns here really quick because they got rid of a lot of yarns that I used to use from them a lot. When I was working for my local yarn shop 10, 12 years ago, they carried so many of their yarns. Bamboo Pop is one. It is a loose twist, but it's one of those that isn't so. I'm going to share this screen with you guys. Hang on a second. Let me. There we go. Let me stop sharing that screen, and then I'm going to share their website with you. Hang on one second. There we go. Okay, I want to see what my screen looks like first. Okay, so Bamboo Pop is right there, the two top right side. They have one that's made specifically for socks. These two right here, I'm going to use my cursor to circle them. Actually, you know what I'm going to use is this. These two right here are amazing. I love Bamboo Pop. In fact, I've designed several things with Bamboo Pop. Let's see. They have bamboo sock in both variegated and solids. I haven't tried a lot of these that I can tell you because a lot of these are new. Cotton Supreme is amazing. And the Cotton Supreme comes in a DK weight and a worsted weight. So those are both. And then Cotton Supreme Sapling. This one looks like it's being discontinued. Usually when they sit, when they are priced 50% of what the regular price is. It usually means it's going out, but this is more of a boucle right here. Trying to think. So I love those. Curio. Oh, maybe they got rid of the classic shades. Did they get rid of classic shades? That'll bum me out if they did. I've never used their deluxe, so I can't comment on that. I have used deluxe worsted. I take that back. The deluxe worsted in the Hank. I have. I use that in my Learn to Fair Isle book for Annie's Attic. Flax is what I used. That's this guy right here. Flax, this one, not the lace, but the regular flax is what I use for the market bag. Garden 10 is absolutely one of my favorites. Honestly, if you are looking for thread work, any thread to do, this is a size 10 thread, cotton thread. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. There's Magnolia. Nymph. They have changed their yarns a lot since I've actually been using them. Uptown. Uptown is another one of my favorites. I used a lot of this back in when I was designing for Annie's Attic. They used Uptown a lot. So the Sport, the DK, and the super bulky, and then the worsted. This is one of their very few lines that they do multiple sizes in. So if you're looking for something that's is more a I'm trying to remember if this was acrylic or if it was a blend. Trying to remember. It's anti-pilling, and I can tell you that it is definitely anti-pilling. Why am I not seeing what their yarn details? There it is. It's acrylic, 100% acrylic. So if you're looking for a very, very good acrylic yarn, Uptown is your yarn. I made several things with this that have been washed a million times, and it does not pill. So if you're looking for an acrylic, I couldn't remember if this was the one that was acrylic. And it comes in worsted hues too, so you get these gradient style type things. There's the Viero. Whisper Lace is being discontinued, but if I were to recommend a lace yarn to anybody, Whisper Lace would be it. I love Whisper Lace. In fact, Whisper Lace was used in my book, Pineapple Passion. Love that yarn. Love, love, love. I wish it wasn't being discontinued. And then these are two brand new ones as well. Okay. So there's a lot of yarns there that I can recommend to you guys. So if you are interested in any of the universal yarns, they are universal yarn without an S. So if you type in universal yarn, universalyarn.com, you can see all their yarns, and you can order directly from them too. But usually I've found that local yarn shops have them too. So if you don't want to have to wait and you want to be able to check them out, go on their website. They should have their stockist list there as well. So you can do that as well. So, okay. Anybody have any questions for me? Because that's pretty much it. I don't have anything new in the shop. I have super secret yarn that came the day before yesterday that I can't show you because I'm not allowed to until it's been released. I have more yarn coming in today that is also for a super secret project. I can't share with you either. I don't have anything else right now coming in. I'm going to be working on some other designs, though, that I will be able to show you in the near future. So I'm hoping to get this one super secret project done over the weekend so that that one's, I've got to get back to the dyer super quick. The other one is, I have a little bit of leeway with that one, but not a whole lot. So I'm hoping to get both projects done in the next couple weeks so that I can start working on what I need to work on. But anybody have anything they want to talk about? Anybody wants to ask me anything about anything? It doesn't have to be about these yarns. I didn't take a sip of my coffee. Did I miss anybody's question? So I should mention, for those of you who are part of the Pattern Club, our Zoom call is this afternoon. For me, it might be evening for you. So don't forget about that. What else? I guess I can tell you that this last weekend, I got to meet my grandson. I got to hold him, and he slept on me for several hours. He's doing well. He's such a cutie. If you follow me on social media, you've probably seen the pictures. I am going back up there tomorrow, and I'll be there Thursday and Friday to help my daughter out a little bit. So, and I'll be coming back Saturdays, but it shouldn't be anything crazy. So, other than that, I really don't have a whole lot of interesting news to talk about. So, so unless you guys have something you want to talk about, I'm going to go ahead and do the drawing. Make sure I'm going to share that screen again really quick. Don't forget to enter the drawing. There it is. To win the Cherry Cola cardigan, you need to type hashtag Cherry Cola. I lost my screen. There we go. So make sure you actually entered. Oh, I just saw another question come in. Hang on one second here. Okay, to take that off the screen for a second. And I crochet baby blankets for charity. Can you recommend a DK weight from Universal that would be good? I would say the Uptown DK would definitely be great for charity because it's 100% acrylic. It doesn't pill. And it comes in a ton of colors. So that's where I would go. If I was going to talk about Universal yarns, that would be a great weight. I took lots of photos of baby James. So yes, I did. I haven't posted them yet because I'm trying not to make my feed all about James, but I will put them in my newsletter from time to time. So I'll probably put the one of me holding him as soon in there soon. And I just saw Christine came in. Oh, just found me. Well, welcome. I'm glad to see you're here. We were just wrapping things up, but definitely watch the replay again because I just reviewed 3 different yarns from Universal with swatches and talked about those and everything. But I am giving away a pattern. I'm going to do the drawing right now. It's Cherry Cola cardigan. It is a unisex toddler child sweater. It goes from a size 2 to an 8. So if you're interested in winning this, I'll send you a digital pattern. And all you have to do, I'm going to put it back on the screen, is type in hashtag Cherry Cola to win. So if you haven't done that yet, guys, go ahead and do that. And I am going to do a drawing here in just a second. Actually, I should probably leave that on the screen. And I'm going to go over and do the drawing now. So hang on one second, guys. So I'm going to count backwards from 5, and then I will hit draw. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and draw. Now, Charlene comes up. I am going to redraw just to be sure. Renee! Awesome. Okay, Renee is our winner. I'm so excited, Renee. Yay. Let me put my confetti up for you too. So congratulations, Renee. I will send you the link to the link to the pattern just after we end this call. So congratulations, Renee. I'm going to make sure before I say goodbye. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So anybody have any questions before I go? Because I will wrap this up if nobody has anything they want to ask. Take another sip of coffee while I wait. Oh, Christine's asking me what time. I'm assuming you're asking what time zone I live in. I'm in the Pacific time zone. So I live on the West Coast of the United States. So I started this at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Linda says, has all the Pattern Club peeps downloaded their pattern? It's beautiful. Not everybody has. There's a few that haven't yet. I'm waiting for those people to download. But everybody who, if you haven't downloaded it, make sure you download it. And don't forget about the Pattern Club Zoom call today. Any other questions, guys? Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And Renee, don't just be watching your inbox. I'll be sending that shortly to you. But everybody else, have a great week. I am, like I said, I'm going to be with my daughter for the next couple days, but I will still be working behind the scenes. If you need anything from me, you can always leave a comment here on YouTube, especially those of you who are watching after the fact. And or you can go to my website and leave me a comment there. I should make one little caveat about my website. I am doing a lot of work behind the scenes right now. I don't even know how to describe it, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I'm trying to make things a little bit better for you guys, both for the Pattern Club and for just my regular followers. So if anything breaks on my website, if you're going to look at patterns or you're reading a blog post or something and something breaks, please shoot me an email and let me know what's broken so I can make sure it's fixed. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Stephanie says, yes, I have and agree. Oh, yes. Cool. I'm glad you guys like the pattern. So for those of you who don't know anything about my Pattern Club, make sure you go to my website, and on the top of the screen, I have a rotating slideshow. And one of the first 2 or 3 slides talks about the Pattern Club, and you can click on that, or you can go to my menu bar and click on the Crochet Crew. That is our Pattern Club. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you check that out. And I have some exciting things happening with the Crochet Crew. So, but I can't tell you what they are yet. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day. I'll see you next week. I don't have a topic for next week, but I do know I will. One thing I will talk about is the results of blocking these, just to see how they went. And otherwise, I will talk to you later. Have a great week. Hope you guys can stay cool, those of you who are living in really hot areas. And I will see you next time. Bye, y'all.